Hi everyone, and welcome to another thrilling episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Zaapiel. Before we get started, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss on any of our great D&D content. Today we're doing a build for Brandon Perez, who wanted a kaiju character. We assume that means something large, fierce, and monstrous. He suggested a lizardfolk Dampier for the race and wants to use Beast Barbarian. These are both good choices, and they're really monstrous look and really monstrous abilities. They also give us opportunity to tackle a character concept that we've been wanting to do for a while, and that is the Barbarian Moon Druid. The idea is simple: use Wild Shape and Rage. However, it is a little tougher to make it work. One of our players tried this using a Totem Warrior Barbarian, but found that in a lot of cases it was more powerful to not be Wild Shaped. We think using the Beast Barbarian instead will fix this problem. We are also going to make this character a strong fighter when not in Wild Shape, and get some spells to further push the kaiju vibe.
And since we're adding the Dampier lineage, we get to keep certain features from the base race, which is lizardfolk, so we get to keep the swim speed. And of course we look like a lizardfolk. We don't keep the natural armor, but since we're Barbarian we wouldn't be using it anyway, as it doesn't work with Unarmored defense. From Dampier we get Dark Vision, and don't need to breathe. Our speed is 35 feet, and that will include our swim speed. We also get a climb speed equal to our walking speed that will become a full-time spider climb effect when we reach third level. We lose our lizardfolk bite attack, but gain one from Dampier that does a D4 piercing, and proficiency times per day we can drain with it, either healing the amount we roll on the D4, or gaining a boost to the next ability check or attack roll equal to that number. Dampier get 3 +1 ability boosts that can be put anywhere, but no more than 2 on one score. We're putting 1 on each of Strength, Constitution, and Wisdom. At lower levels, and often even higher levels, we're going to be fighting in our normal shape, so we can't dump physical abilities the way a straight Moon Druid can. We'll be putting 15 into Strength and Constitution, which will be 16 after the racial bonus, and a 13 on Wisdom, which will be 14. We'll also put a 12 in Dexterity, and Intelligence and Charisma get 8. We aren't either smart or social. I would like a little more Charisma for Intimidation, but at least we'll be proficient with it. We're using custom background to get Intimidation and Perception proficiency. If there's a background you like instead, feel free, but try to get Perception. Wisdom is our only good middle stat, so we should get some use out of it.
We're taking Barbarian for first level because we want Unarmored defense, and Rage will help as well. We also get 2 skills from the Barbarian list, and we want Survival and Athletics, which should cover all the skills that we need. Unarmored defense lets us have a AC equal to 10 plus your dexterity and constitution modifiers when not wearing armor, and we can use a shield. We get 2 rages a day, and when raging, we are resistant to bludgeoning, piercings, and slashing damage, and add a +2 damage to our attacks. This bonus will go up as we gain Barbarian levels. At lower levels, it is best in terms of power to use a weapon and a shield, possibly even medium armor, but we do have a bite attack, so technically we don't need any gear at all. So for style, that is how we are building this character. At second level, we are taking our first level of Druid, and we learn to speak Druidic, which is a language only Druids can speak, but more importantly, we get spellcasting. We get 2 cantrips from the Druid list. First, we want Primal Savagery. It allows us to grow fangs or claws that deliver corrosive venom. We make a melee spell attack doing a D10 acid damage. While this is a nice boost to our damage, it does use a melee spell attack, so we'll be using Wisdom instead of Strength. This is a good attack for us when not raging. For our second, and there are 2 good choices, and we eventually want both. Produce Flame is a solid range attack cantrip, doing a D8 fire damage, and it looks cool. Thorn Whip is a melee spell attack. It has range of 30 feet, and it does a D6 piercing damage and pulls the target 10 feet closer to you if it is no bigger than large. This will also look really cool if you reflavor the look for it to look like a barbed tentacle or something along those lines. Both of these allow us to attack outside our melee range, and their damage will increase as we get higher levels, as will the Primal Savagery. We also can prepare a number of spells equal to our level plus our Wisdom modifier, and we have 2 first level spell slots. We can't cast in Wild Shape, but can concentrate on and use spells we have already cast. But we can't do either when raging. Only spells that have a fixed duration and don't require an action to activate. Some good choices are Cure Wounds and Healing Word. Ice Knife is a good attack spell when not raging, and Jump is a fixed duration and will work when raging and wild shaped. So.
And at 3rd level we take 2nd level Druid, getting our Circle, and we're taking Circle the Moon. At this level, all Druids get Wild Shape, allowing them to assume animal form twice per rest, and stay in that shape for a number of hours equal to half the Druid level. In that form, we use our own mental stats, but use the physical abilities and attacks of the beast. We also assume the beast's hit points, and when they run out, we revert back to our normal form and the hit points we had before we use Wild Shape. There are a lot of rules regarding Wild Shape, but the most important one for this character is that we can benefit from any feature from our class, race, etc. if the new form is capable of doing so. So this means we can rage in Wild Shape, and we can also use our draining bite from being a Dampier, if our form has a bite attack. You would need to ask your DM, but the drain should use the damage die of your beast form's bite to determine how much you drain. A normal Druid can only take the form of a challenge rating quarter beast, but we're a Moon Druid, so we can take up to a challenge rating 1 form, and at higher levels we can take a form equal to our Druid level divided by 3 rounded down. Currently this form can't have a swim or fly speed. We can also Wild Shape as a bonus action instead of an action, allowing us to assume a form and start fighting right away. However, Raging also takes a bonus action, so if we want to do both in the same round, we'll have to use our action to Wild Shape. There are a lot of good beast forms to take, but we're going to focus on ones that work with our Kaiju image. At this level, the Dinoicus dinosaur is a good choice. It has 2d8 hit points, armor class 12, and multi-attack, doing 1 bite and 1 claw, both doing a d4 plus 2 with an attack bonus of plus 1. It also has pack tactics, let us get advantage on our attacks if we have an ally within 5 feet of it. The giant spider is stronger, having an armor class 14, 4d10 plus 4 hit points, a climb speed and a bite for a d8 plus 3, and a DC 11 poison save or take 2d8 poison damage.
Yeah, that's a good one to start with. At 3rd level, we go back to Barbarian for a while, taking level 2. We get Reckless Attack, allowing us to attack with advantage, but we give all attacks against us advantage at the start of our next turn. Since our AC isn't very high, this could cause us to take a lot of damage, but we also will deal a lot, and if we are in Wild Shape, taking damage isn't that big of a deal. This works even if we aren't raging. This only works with strength-based attacks, so we can't use it with our cantrips. We also get Danger Sense, giving us advantage on dexterity saves from any attack that we can see unless we are blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. As a DM, I interpret this to mean attacks within line of sight, so a hidden trap going off counts even if we don't see it beforehand, before it's activated. At 5th level, we get 3rd level Barbarian. We get our Primal Path, and we are going to take the Path of the Beast. Our first ability, Form of the Beast, lets us to grow a natural attack, either a bite that can drain hit points and does a d8, a tail with 10-foot reach and does a d8, and someone hits you, you add a d8 to your AC. Or we can grow claws that deal a d6, and when we make a melee attack as part of an attack action, we can make an extra claw attack as part of the same action. This isn't a bonus attack or a multi-attack, so we get it even after we get an extra attack, and we can also use it if we have multiple attack forms such as a claw and a bite in beast form. Or if our beast form has multi-attack ability, that includes at least 1 claw attack. We can use any of these in Wild Shape, and this can lead to some really powerful attacks. For example, if we use the Deinonychus, which has multiple attack with claws and a bite, we can use our claws instead and get 2 claws and a bite. Also, our cantrips level up here so they can do an extra dice of damage, and we get another use of rage per day. At 6th level, we get 4th level Barbarian, and we get an ability boost, and we want Constitution here. It will help with our hit points and AC when not in Wild Shape. At 7th level, we take 5th level Barbarian, getting extra attack. This will also work in Wild Shape, so if the beast doesn't have multi-attack, we can still make 2 attacks, and when raging, we can use 1 of our attacks and 1 of the beasts. For example, if we use Giant Spider, we could grow claws with our rage, and make a claw attack, getting a 2nd claw from that ability, and use the spider's bite.
And at 8th level, we're sticking with Barbarian for 6, getting Bestial Soul. This allows the natural weapons we get from the form of the beast to count as magical for overcoming damage resistance and immunity. Also, every short rest we can choose to adapt our body. This is up to the DM if it will affect the Wild Shape. By rules as written it should, but I can see why a DM might say otherwise. You can either gain a swim speed equal to your walking speed, but in our non-Wild Shape form we already have that. A climbing speed equal to our walking speed. It can climb difficult surfaces or walk on ceilings, but again, we already have that. Or once per turn, we can make an athletics check to extend the jump by a number of feet equal to the check. This will work pretty well for us as we are proficient with athletics and get advantage on it when raging. And we get another rage at this level. At 9th level, we go back to Druid for 3rd level, getting 2nd level spells. Bark Skin is a great spell to use while wild shape, but doesn't work when raging due to concentration. And Healing Spirit is good both in combat and out. It's concentration, so it can't be used when raging, but can while wild shape. And if you want a flashy attack with not raging, Moonbeam would look pretty cool, and Earth Tremor would be pretty kaiju-like as well. Yeah. At 10th level, we take 4th level Druid for another ability boost, either getting Strength to 18 for when we aren't wild shape, or Wisdom to improve our spell attacks would be good. But I think Strength is more important, as we aren't using a lot of spell attacks. Our wild shapes can also have a swim speed, which opens up the giant toad, which has 60, 10, plus 6 hit points, 11 armor class, a 20-foot long jump, and a 10-foot high jump, which depending on the DM could be boosted by our Bestial Soul ability. It also has a D10 plus 2 bite attack that grapples with an escape DC of 13 and deals an extra D10 of poison damage. It is large, and if it has a target grappled, that target is restrained, and it can make a subsequent bite attack to swallow the victim. We have extra attack, so we can bite, then grapple, then bite again and swallow the victim all in one attack action. Swallowed victims are blinded and restrained and take 3d6 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. We can only have one swallowed creature at a time, but can still bite, and if we took claws with our rage, we can hit with a bite and 2 claws, or if you want to be a toad with a scorpion tail, we can bite and attack with the tail.
Yeah.
We also get another cantrip, so take Produce Flame or Thorn Whip, whichever we didn't take before.
At 11th, we're going to continue with Druid for level 5, getting 3rd level spells. Erupting Earth and Tidal Wave both seem like the thing a rampaging monster would do. Our cantrips also improve here, getting another dice of damage. At 12th level, we're taking 6th level of Druid, getting a feature from our circle, Primal Strike. Now our natural weapons in wild shape count as magical, even if we aren't using the ones from our rage, which is very important as we probably encountering a lot of monsters with resistance at this level. We also can now wild shape into CR2 beast and gives us the Allosaurus, which has a 60, 10 plus 18 hit points, AC of 13, and a claw for a D8 plus 4 or a bite for the same. We have extra attacks, so we can do both. And if we are raging and using our claws of the beast, we can get an extra attack. We also have Pounce, which means we can move 30 feet and hit an enemy with our claw, and we can knock it prone if it fails on a DC 13 strength save. And if we do, we get in a bite as a bonus action. If using our claws, our rage claws, this will let us hit it with our claw, knock it prone, hit it with another second claw, take a bonus action bite, and then our second attack for another bite. So a lot of attacks there. We also get Plesiosaurs, which has a 40-foot swim speed, 8d10 plus 24 hit points, and a bite with a 10-foot reach dealing 3d6 plus 4 damage. With extra attack, we can do 2 of these, and if raging, we can do 1 of them with either 2 claws or a tail attack.
Continuing with Druid at level 13, we take 7th level Druid, getting 4th level spells. When not raging, either wild shaped or not, Guardian of Nature will give us some kaiju power, giving us 1 of 2 forms for a minute, depending on our concentration. The Primal Beast form is the best for us in wild shape, getting an extra 10 feet move, dark vision of 120 feet, advantage on strength-based attacks, and all of these attacks do an extra d6. When not wild shape, the Great Tree gives 10 temporary hit points, advantage on constitution saves, and dexterity or wisdom-based attacks. Our cantrips and spell attacks are wisdom-based, and if we are on the ground, the area 15 feet around us is difficult terrain for enemies. And at 14th level, we take 8th level Druid. This opens up flying forms for our wild shape. This gives us a Quetzalcoatlus, which is huge, has 40, 12 plus 4 hit points, armor class 13, a bite for 3d6 plus 2, and an impressive 80-foot fly speed. And it has flyby attack, so it doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity flying out of a creature's reach, letting us make hit and run attacks. It also has dive attack. If it dives at least 30 feet toward a target and hits with a bite, it deals an extra 3d6 damage. When raging, we can dive, hit it with a bite for 6d6 plus 4 damage, and 2 claws for 1d6 plus 4 each, then fly up 50 feet and be out of range for a counterattack. And we also get an ability boost here, and let's cap off our constitution. And at 15th level, we take level 9 Druid, getting us challenge rating 3 wild shapes, getting Plesiosaurs, which is huge with 8d12 plus 16 hit points, 15 armor class, and a tail attack dealing 46 plus 4 damage. As usual, we can also add claws or a bite from our rage ability, and we have extra attack. We also get Giant Scorpion, which has 7d10 plus 14 hit points, armor class 15, 60 feet of blind sight, and multi-attack, allowing it to do 2 attacks with its claws and 1 with its tail. If we use our rage claws, we can make 3 claw attacks instead. The claws do a d8 plus 2 bludgeoning damage, and can grapple on a hit with a DC 12 to escape. We can only have 1 target grappled in each claw. The tail does a d10 plus 2 piercing damage, and if the target fails a DC 12 constitution save, it takes 4 d10 poison damage, and half of it succeeds. And we also get 5th level spells. Cone of Cold, Insect Plague both seem like things a rampaging monster would do.
At 16th level, we're going back to Barbarian for 7th level, getting Feral Instinct, granting advantage on initiative checks, and can enter a rage when surprised to act normally that turn. An optional feature at this level is Instinctive Pounce. If your DM uses it, it lets you move up to half your speed as part of a bonus action you use to rage. We allow this at our table, and it is usually very helpful, and it's not overpowered. At 17th level, we'll be taking 8th level Barbarian for the ability boost, and we should put it on our Wisdom to up it to 16. However, if your DM says that the tough feat also applies to your wild shapes, then definitely do that instead. I think by rules, as written, it does, but again, it's up to your DM. They might rule differently on that. Our cantrips also improve one last time, getting 1 more dice of damage. At 18th level, we're taking 9th level Barbarian, getting Brutal Critical, which lets us roll an additional dice of damage when making a critical hit. This could be especially brutal with some of our wild shapes. Our bonus rage damage also increases to a +3 here. At 19th level, we take 10th level of Barbarian, getting Infectious Fury. A number of times a day equal to your proficiency. When you hit an enemy, they make a Wisdom save DC 8 plus proficiency plus con modifier, or have one of the followings happen. Either they must use a reaction to attack another creature of our choice that we can see, or it takes 2d12 psychic damage. At 20th level, we have 2 options we could take. 10th level of Druid for elemental wild shapes, which would be pretty fearsome when raging, or take 11th level of Barbarian for Relentless Rage. We are going with the Barbarian. When raging, if we drop to 0 hit points, we can make a DC 10 Constitution save and drop to 1 hit point instead if we succeed. We can do this multiple times, but the DC increases by 5 each time, so it gets harder and harder to make. Also in Wild Shape, we would use the Beast's Constitution for the save, but using this in Wild Shape probably isn't the best thing to do, because if we drop to 0 hit points, we just resort to our normal form and all the hit points we had before you Wild Shape.
And we didn't have any recommended magic items for this build, because our goal for this build is to require no equipment at all. However, anything that will boost armor class would be good, especially Braces of Defense. Also, the various magical tattoos could give really cool abilities while not actually carrying any physical equipment. And I think we lived up to the goal of making a rampaging kaiju, and I think we showed how well raging in Wild Shape can work. So I'm pretty happy with it. I hope Brandon likes it too. What do all of you think? Let us know in the comments below, and as usual, if you have any comments, suggestions, or build ideas, feel free to tell us. Next week we're doing a build for Azralith, which is a Soul Knife rogue combined with a Trickery Domain Cleric, which I think will make a fun character with a lot of roleplay potential. Me too. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, cheers.